Good afternoon, everyone. I'll be going over how to set up 7 Days to Die server and its configs. I could not find any information, so I had to figure this out myself. Um, so I'm assuming you already have 7 Days to Die downloaded, a dedicated server. You can also go into properties. You can go, here in betas, under betas, you can choose the version you want because there's different versions and it will automatically update it. There's no way to turn off automatic updates that I can think of. But after you've downloaded that, you can right click. I'm running Alpha 21.2, which has a couple mods, mod packs, if you will. And so right click, go to manage, go to browse local files. And now this is what your server should look like. All the amazing stuff. Under server config.xml, it's an XML file. This is your configuration file for what's going to happen when you run the executable or the start dedicated.bat. So it kind of does both of those. I have Notepad++ to configure all these settings just so I can read it better. So you can give this your name. You can test. These die, description, you give it your password if you wanted to include a password, 3456. Region, depends on your region, obviously. Server port. So keep track of this. The server port is a networking thing. You're gonna have to port forward that. Write that down. That is gonna. You can also, in this config file, will tell you keep it in the ranges of this and that, or this and that. That that is important. That is very important. So you can use any numbers from 226,900 to 26,905, or 27,105, 27,015, or 27,020. So any range from that. Choose a port, write it down, remember it. You're gonna need that for later. You can also server max world transfer speeds kilobytes per second. This is good if you have large maps that you want to do, probably like pre-gen 10, 10K plus or anything. Higher gen worlds, you can go at a max of 1300, so I can increase this to 1300. Anything past that will not. It'll just do the 1300. Server max player count, you can edit that however you want, how many people you want in there. Reserved slots, permission. So after, I believe it's after 100, anything above 100, you can enter whatever number. Anything above 1 or 5, if you wanted to. But in this case, it's 100. If there's people, more than 100 people on there, they're going to have to get permission from you to join in, which will require a whole different file. We're not going to go into that. Another important one that's not explained to anyone is this port 8080, but it is for the admin interfaces. If you want to use commands in the game, you can set that up, as well as the configuration file, which is the server admin.xml. So write down this port 8080 and 8081. You can give that a password if you want. 12356. And let's see what this is actually. Password to gain entry to Telnet interface. No password is set. The server will only listen on the local loopback interface. So I just put in the password just to make it more secure. I'm just going to set it the same. Here's where you can go if you wanted to add yourself as an admin, which uses I believe, the Steam account ID and username or something like that. If you are not playing with with mods, you can keep this as true. If you are playing with mods, some mods tell you to turn off EAC. EAC is that easy anti-cheat system that they have with their builds when they give you all the file configurations. So if you're playing with mods, false. You're not playing true. I will be keeping it the way it is. Um, Game World. So your game and files do come with, I think they come with preloaded saves. We go to data, worlds. So here it is under 70s data worlds. So it's in this configuration, it's loading this world. So it's gonna load all the stuff, all this good stuff here. Leave that as is. You can give it a world gen seed if you wanted to. I don't know if you need that. You can change the sizes. The sizes vary. You'll have to look at what they recommend. So 6K is 1644, 10K is 10240, and they go up and down in a weird scale of multiples of 2048. So just keep adding 2048 to whatever you want, how big of a size you want to make it. Game name, I don't think this really matters. I've never seen any files created that are specifically my game. I've never seen it. I don't know where it jumps to. Whatever you want the game name to be. This doesn't affect anything. It affects the save name as well as the seed used in placing decoration trees in the world. Does not control the generic layout of the world of creating in RWG. Okay, survival. I'm assuming you're all playing survival. I think you just change this to creative if you want to do creative. That's a guess. Sorry. The game difficulty goes from 0 to 5, so you can, right now it's 1. You put it at 5 at hardest. XP multiplier, these right now it's gonna give you 100 XP to the default value of whatever the XP multiplier is. So if you want like half of what you would normally get, 50. If you want 5 times, add a 0, 500. So 5 times 100, obviously. Save fun, build, create, day-night cycle. I don't really mess with these. Drop on quit. You can change that if you want. I don't know why you would want to. You want to drop everything on quitting the game. Okay, so here's performance related. This is a very big thing depending on your system. I would say lesser machines really crank this down. You want to probably do. I do dividends of 12 maybe or 4. I had an issue with my server lagging. It would stutter every couple seconds, every 15. Every new chunk I went into, it was loading like it would stutter. I think a safe area for most people would be like 8 to 12 range. I believe I currently have it set to. Let me check actually, because this works for me. This is what I currently have. Oh gosh, I have to find it. And I don't have the best specs, if you will. Siege and the green difficulty. Um, 8. 32. So max spawn 32 is what I have mine at. You can go lower if you have a not the greatest system. Maybe 32 would actually be better. Animals. I have this one set to 20. I mean, you can do more or less for animals. I rarely use animals for anything, so I set it lower than the zombies. Server view distance, this also affects performance. I mean, lower grade systems at lowest 6, greatest 12 plus. Enemy difficulties. I don't really mess with these. I do mess with blood moon frequency. This would be so every 7 days. The night of the 7th day will be the blood moon. So if I change that to 3, the third day, but the third night will be a blood moon. And you could actually change this to blood moon range if you want the blood moon. Actual blood moon, they randomly deviate from the above settings. How many days? Oh, so I'm assuming that's how many days you wanted to drag on for. Let's see. -1 makes the red never show. Oh, the red. Okay, so the red in the day. So if you don't want a blood moon. You just want clean day. -1. Interesting. The hour at the red day begins the blood moon starting -1. Okay. So this gives you the warning, enemy count. Loot abundance. This is also a great one to edit if you want just standard loot, 100. Again, you want half the amount you've been getting, 50, 500, so 5 times what you would normally do. Usually I do like 300, just to make the game go a little quicker. Loot respawn days. So I believe when you loot bags, vehicles, and things, this is when do you want that to reset? Every 2 days? I normally do. Airdrop frequency, how often? In-game hours do you want the airdrops to come in? So you can do every 12 hours. I mean, there's a big ton of airdrops everywhere. And how crazy do you want that frequency? I'll stick at 48 every 2 days with the blood moon, you know? You can set the airdrop marker to false if you don't want the marker. You're just looking for the flashing light. Good luck. Party share, kill range, you can do 100. It's just like anything else, 100, 50% of their amount. Leave it default. Land claim count. I believe this is how much land. Yep, maximize land claim per player. So you can have 3 land claim blocks per player. That's fine. You could change the size of it. I do 100 or maybe 50. Make it a little bigger, smaller. It's up to you. Dynamic mesh. Everything else is fine. So after that, I'm using Notepad++. Don't forget to save your file. Make sure it saves it. All these changes you made. And now back to the ports. And don't forget your server password. You're gonna need that server password to log in. Next, use your ports. Log into your router. Everyone's router from their internet service provider is different. Find out how to port forward on it. You want to port forward whatever you put in for the server port there. You want to port forward the 8080 and the 8081. If you have a port range on your router, you can do that. And if you can, I do TCP and UDP on all 3. Well, one. If you do this individually, a TCP port forward of this, a TCP UDP of that. If you can do both at the same time, that'd be great. Less things to see in your router. That's basically 3 different ports, or 3 different ports, 2 different protocols, TCP, 1 UDP. Okay. Saved it. Amazing. I do have a modded server. Let me quickly. I'm going to delete my folder of all the content here because I already have a server set up. But once I port forward everything, I got my everything. I also have mods on my server, so yours is gonna look different, obviously. Now I gotta go. Yeah, gonna restore all my folders. Okay. Yeah, restore. It's moving everything back in. It's gonna overwrite everything that I have there. Hmm. And if you are playing with mods, make sure your clients, everyone who's connecting, has the same mods as the server. That's or else you're gonna run into issues. And you have the same version selected. You know, the when we went to Steam, we went here, we went to properties. We all have the same version. We have all the same mods. It's important. Okay, let's see. There's also, I should mention this. I'm running a Windows 11, but go down here, because this is also important. Right click, go to Internet and Network Settings. Yours might be different if you're in Windows 10 still. In here, you can go to your Ethernet. Make sure you have public network enabled as well. If you have private, this is using just your internet at home and staying local. It's not going to allow people to join outside. So make sure you enable public network as well. Okay, I got all my files put back in. I am going to run my server now. I've had issues before trying to run the executable. Sometimes if it works for you guys, great. If not, you can go down and select the start bat. It says wait a couple seconds, or you can press any key to continue, and your server should go up right there. So all this is loading everything. Again, I have mods, so you'll see a bunch of mods pop up. And that's the first part. This will take a while. If you have mods, if you don't have the best computer, this will take a while. Also, it depends on your how big of a world you want. I'm using the pre-gen 10K, so this will take a little bit longer. Usually it's like 5 to 10 minutes. But in the meantime, I am going to start up my game on my computer now, which has all the same mods as my server. Actually, also another important point. I am sorry. If you're playing on using Steam on the one hosting the server, the computer, or whatever you have, switch go offline. Go to Steam, switch to go offline. That way your account doesn't kick you out while you launch your game on your computer. Then here's mine, and I will show you my computer now. There we go. Another thing to know, I don't know if anyone else has ran into this, but for myself, I have to launch I have to connect to my server 3 times before it allows me in the third time. I don't know if it's because the port I'm using, because I'm not using default settings. And this is the mod pack I am using if you guys want another video on that, on how to install this, whether on the server or the client. It's the same thing, it's the same process for both. Here, I will go 7. That is what I labeled my, is that the session title? Let's see. Let me just double check for everyone's sake. That one is the server name. Whatever you called the server name, that's what you will search. Okay. Just to clear it up, make sure that everyone understands what's going on. And it looks like my server is done. Let me show this screen really quick, because this is also important. It'll take a while to load. Like I said, I'm using a pre-Gen 10. You will know your game is up when you start to see your public IP address right here. You will know it is up and working when that is displayed. Now, back on my computer, I'm going to search for it now. It comes up right away. Boom. These are all my configurations. I click connect. I have my password in already. I am connecting. Again, this happens. I have to connect 3 times before I actually get in the third time. It'll say receiving and loading configurations. I don't know if that's just because I'm using a 10 pre-gen 10K size map. I believe that's why. And then all the mods, that's a whole load. A lot of stuff to load. You can shorten this time by having smaller maps, obviously. Smaller the map, less zombies, less animals. You will increase and notice performance gains if your computer ain't that great. This is my second time loading in. Like I said, takes me 3 times to actually get logged in. I believe that's just a mod config map download. There we go. When I see initializing world, I know it's gonna load. And if you think you're disconnected or going to get disconnected, just allow it to try to load. Use your left and right mouse button to just refresh this so you know you're still connected. It didn't just crash on you. And I also put in a server server information. You can put whatever you want in that. It's in the configuration file. Mine just says welcome, so I know I'm connected. And there we go. All my graphics had to load, which is a separate thing for your game as well. There we go. We are inside the game now. If you guys enjoyed the video, found this helpful, again, I couldn't find any information. You guys got more insight on it, let me know. If there's a way that I can stop disconnecting 3 times. It might just be like I said, the map size, the amount of mods that I have on here. and just speed wise. You guys have a good rest of your day. Bye bye.